Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So, good project, gonna be a fun one. Finally upgrading the suspension on the TERYX. If I had one bone to pick with the Kawasaki, it'd be the Fox shocks that come factory on it. They, you know, Fox is a fairly good aftermarket name, but these shocks just aren't good for any kind of hard trail riding. So I ended up buying Elka shocks that are actually custom built by John Hester. He orders them from Elka, and then I think he modifies the shock bodies and different things, the lengths of the shafts, all that. So these are designed specifically for the TERYX, and they give it about 2 inches of lift, and the ride is supposed to be night and day. So let's start opening these boxes and I'll show you what else I got. Alright, so what all do we got? We get the Hester Elkas, which will give us 2 inches of lift, and a much better ride, like night and day. And we'll get a ton more flex out of these. So rock crawling, anything like that, we're gonna have a lot more tire to the ground with these shocks than with the factory Fox. So we'll do some comparisons after we get it all together. I've got Keller Perrformance Ball Joints for the front, top and bottom. Those are heavy duty ball joints. That's what everybody recommended. That's what everybody on the forum said, buy these. So that's what we did. Got 2-inch wheel spacers, and I'm too short because I figured they came in sets of 4, but they come in sets of 2. But that's all right. That's the last thing we're gonna be putting on anyway. Got lots of stuff we can do. Front and rear bushings for the A-Arms from performancesidebyside.com. So check them out. These are guaranteed, lifetime guarantee. I've got Super ATV Arched A-Arms. These will not only give us more ground clearance, but they should be stronger than the factory. The black will, I think, look a little bit better than the orange. But essentially, they'll come out like this and then drop down. So you'll have more ground clearance and ruts and things like that. So we got arched arms, front and rear, and these are also 1.5 inch offset forward and then 1.5 inch offset reverse. So it actually lengthens the wheelbase of this bike by 3 inches overall when you do the front and the rears. So that'll help with approach, departure angles, hill climbs. Should help with ride a little bit, especially in the chop and the you know, whooped out sections. So really looking forward to getting this thing back together. And then the icing on the cake would be these Tusk Uinta Beadlock Wheels. They're true beadlocks. I looked at the simulated beadlocks, and for like $25 more a wheel, I decided to just go ahead and get the true beadlocks. And then I've got Tusk Terabytes, and these are 30 by 10 by 14s, and the wheels are 14 by 7s, I believe. So it's going to be a pretty sharp looking bike. The factory tires are 28s, but they're probably like 27s right now, just because they're so wore. And it's going to look a whole lot different when we get done. So let's get started. I'm going to start tearing stuff apart. Alright, so we're making good progress. I got the whole front end tore apart. Really nothing to that. It's just unbolting things. There's a couple bolts for the lower A-arm, one big one for the upper A-arm. And then to get the ball joints to let loose, I just hit here and here and here with the hammer, and that would be like that. So upper ball joint would have been right there. Knocked that a few times, that popped loose, and then did the same with the bottom, and that popped loose. So no issues there. Shocks are just 2 bolts. But what I want to show you is how to get these new Keller Ball Joints in. So if you look at these factory ball joints, first off, they're a lot smaller than these Keller Ball Joints. But second, you've got this little C-clip on top, and that's what actually holds the ball joint in. It does press in from the bottom, and then you got the C-clip that retains it. How these work though is you've got, let me get this key out of there, cotter pin. So with Keller ball joints, you got this cap on top. Basically, this is your part that we're going to press in. Press that in from the bottom on the press. Be very easy because it's just a flat disassembled ball joint. You're not trying to press something like this in, so you don't need an actual ball joint press for this. Get this stuff out of the way. So how this works is the actual stem sits in there like that. This presses in from the bottom. This is your cap. That kind of screws in there like that. And this would go in, come up through your A-arm. So it'd be sit about like that. Then you got this cap that will hold that all in. And this is your grease fitting. It takes a needle style grease fit attachment for your grease gun, which I'll show you. Then obviously you got your boot and your castle, well, not castle nut in this case. Let's get this pressed in. Alright, figured it out. I'll put this face down, and then I'll drive it up into the socket that's bigger than that inside threaded area there. There we go. That's what we're looking for. So, let's repeat that on the other 3. Alright, let's finish one of these off quick so you see how to do it. Comes with a really good instruction sheet with some good illustrations on it so you see exactly what you need to do. But basically, after you get that the base pressed into the arm, what you want to do is take your stem, drop that in, then drop your cap on top of that. Then or the cup, I guess that's called. And then this is the cap. And this needs to be torqued to 150 with this larger outer nut here. This nut is for your Allen head set screw here, so don't worry about that just yet. I'm gonna tighten this cap right down. Got my torque wrench. We're gonna go to 150. All right. So the easiest way for me to do that was to put it right on the bike. All right, I'll show you the rest too. All right, next up, they want this Allen screw tightened until it stops, which is right there, and then back it off a 1/16 of a turn. It's probably like right there. And then they want you to tighten the jam nut while holding that Allen. That's good. And then tighten it to 50 foot-pounds. Torque it. And that's good. Then check your ball joint. Make sure you still have good movement. And that looks good. All right. Now, what I've been waiting for, installing these nice, shiny Hester Elkas. Oh yeah, that looks sweet. All right, so that's got the whole front end together. I just got to torque everything down. I think I'm going to remove the sway bar completely too. I'm just going to pop that off, at least the front sway bar. Both sides. Going to start on the rear here in a second. And the rear should be a breeze compared to this because there's no steering components and there's no brake components to deal with in the rear. So should go really quick. So let me show you how to throw these bushings in the A-arms. All right, this is pretty simple. So really, first thing I'm going to do is take, and they've already done this from the factory, but I'm just doing a little bit more and getting some grease on the inside of these surfaces where the bushings actually mate. Next, take your bushings, pop the urethane and the steel apart, and then really all you're going to do is get these started. Well, that one's pretty much in. those are both in. Do this side. And then this side. So now put your pins in. Really just set it on a surface like this, preferably wood. You don't want to set it on, I guess it wouldn't matter because you got the urethane bushing there. But anyway, I got it on this wood workbench, so that's what I'm using. Don't use a steel hammer, use a rubber hammer. That one's set. And that arm is ready to go. So we just got to repeat that with the other 3 rear arms, and then we'll start assembling them. So I gotta notch this on both sides for the Elkas to fit, and that's right online. If you look in anything that John Hester's got out there, he tells you just to notch that to clear the upper shock body, the cap. So do that now. Alright, you can see that has been clearanced, so now our shock will fit up in there. Alright, there you go. And they look sharp. Soapy water. finish this one off. So really, this side is just getting, the actual bead is getting locked in place with this ring. Just allows you to air your tires way down, like 5-6 pounds range. Whereas factory, you gotta run them up around like 10, 12, somewhere around there. You can run them lower, but problem is, you risk having a tire come off the bead when you're really working them. The other nice thing about beadlocks is you can mount your own tires pretty easily. No tire irons. Just pop them right through. Pop the beadlock side right through, because that one side just mates up to the inside there. It's actually smaller diameter, so it drops right in the tire nicely. And they suggest running these down to like 10 foot-pounds and then going back through and hitting them all at 20 foot-pounds, and they want you to do it in a star pattern, which is a pain because you have no idea which one you hit last time, and just do your best. We use the torque wrench here. That's a joke. Looking for leaks and I see none. Bottle of soapy water is one of the handiest tools you can have in the shop. Use it all the time to find leaks and figure out where I gotta plug a tire at. So hopefully no plugs in these for a long time though. You can see the stockers. We're not doing too well. They're on their last leg. Yes. 3 plugs in that sidewall, and then I had 3 plugs in the other sidewall, so I was definitely due for new tires. There. Took a little bit of heat because it's kind of chilly out in the garage today. It's like 48 degrees. They started coming off and then they just like kind of rip in half. So I like that. It looks good, and I'm gonna do the door extensions, I think. Do those, and then I'm gonna do rock sliders from Tate Michael, who's in Williamsport, PA. Talked to him some on Messenger, and hopefully get together with him for a ride this summer sometime. Anyway, coming right along. All right, so there you have it. Thing looks a ton better. It rides a ton better, it flexes a ton better, has better ground clearance. It's just overall a much better machine with the Super ATV arms and the Hester Elkas. The steering's extremely tight. Ball joints seem to be really good quality. I brought it back in here to grease everything after working, obviously, the bushings, the ball joints, and everything else. And I also noticed when I just went and washed it tonight that I have a leak in, or a hole in one of these. It's this CV joint boot right here. So you can hear air popping out of it. But I noticed because I had grease all over the inside of the wheel and all around this boot. So that's a bummer. I'm going to show you guys how to replace that, and I'm also going to do oil and filter change in the next video. I got AMSOIL oils and filters from my buddy Jack, so if you're in the area in Corning, Elmira, Horseheads, Sayre, Waverly area, hit him up for AMSOIL. Good American made stuff, and it's nice to support local friends, and he's a really good guy. If he's anywhere near you, he'll drop it right off of your house for you. So but really liking the machine. The wheels, the tires, they look awesome, a lot more aggressive looking. You can air the tires down so you get better ride that way. You get way better ride with the Elkas. The only thing I'm disappointed in a little bit is that the tires measure 29, which I think is pretty typical for tires. They rarely measure exactly what they say they, like if they're 30s, they usually measure a little bit less than 30 inch. But I was expecting I was gonna actually rub a little bit. So when I didn't, I just felt like I wasted a little bit of space there. I could have gone a little bit bigger, but even if I stuffed a real 30 in there, I'm only gonna have a ½ inch difference overall height. So I guess it's not a huge deal. Reason I went with these Tusk Terabytes is because they are supposedly really good wearing tires. So if you ride roads a lot, there's a lot of roads in between trails where we're at. So in order for us to go ride, we have to usually hit quite a few roads. So I wanted something that's gonna last me a good year, and I'm gonna be able to get quite a bit of road riding on, maybe another 1,500 miles. I got 1,600 miles on the bike now, and I just hit that on stock tires. And if it wasn't for the plugs and the sidewalls and everything, the tires would probably still be okay. So if I can get 2,000 miles out of these, which we'll see how it goes, but again, 3 inches overall wheelbase length increase, because the A-arms are offset 1.5 inches rear and 1.5 inches forward. So gives you 3 inches overall increase in wheelbase, which helps your approach, your departure, your hill climbs, all of that. And it helps with ride because longer wheelbase, you're not going to get that bucking in like whooped out sections. I took this through a section in my field that's like really whooped out, where I used to only be able to go through at like 20 miles per hour without my foot popping off the gas pedal, and I just hit it at like 45 yesterday. Just never let off and didn't need to. I had my muzzle loader sitting right here. It was strapped in, just sitting the stock and on that floorboard. Barrel was in like that, and it never even popped out of there. It just glided right across there. It was awesome. So I'm gonna take you guys on a shakedown run next time. Well, next time it might be replacing that boot, doing the oil and filter change, and going through a couple other things. There's a winch problem we got to take care of. But the next video after that is definitely going to be a shakedown test. I'll show you guys how good this thing flexes, show you the difference in ground clearance, and how much better the ride is overall. So stay tuned for that. And if you guys don't mind, hit the like and subscribe button, and really appreciate you guys supporting the Dirt Road Life channel here. Lots more videos with this TERYX coming, and it's going to be a really much more fun toy now than I guess it already was. So thanks for checking out the video, and we'll see you guys on the next one.